Hi guys, welcome to another Wayward Wednesday. Today I will be sharing with you my most anticipated August release is. Stay tuned. Hi guys, same setting, same pose, same clothes, but yes, I'm making two videos on the same day because hopefully they'll give me more time to edit without hurting my hand. And if you're here and you watch my videos, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I have about 18 books to share with you today. My list has 37 books. You can check all the books I'm looking forward to on my August folder if you are watching this video in August. And if it's after August, I'll move it to my 2021 published anticipated release folder and you can check them there. But the 18 I'm looking forward to the most, and it was really hard to narrow down, I'll share with you in order of publication. First, coming up on August 3rd, I have All's Well by Awad. It is a horror book, and I've talked about it on my Goodread prediction horror. So I'll link it here so you can look more into it. But basically, we follow Miranda. She is a woman who's seen better days. She has suffered a big accident. She is in pain, even though nobody believes her. She lost her marriage. She's about to lose her job. She is the theater director and professor of a local college, and she is putting all her eggs in her production of the year basket. She really wants to do all's well. Part of it is because she relates a lot to Helen, the protagonist, and she is determined that this is the production they're going to put in, and when the Shakespeare competition that schools enter. Here's a problem though. Her students decide that they don't want to do this, they want to do Macbeth instead, and fronted by this very snooty student, very entitled student, they start mutiny. And they say, no, we only gonna do Macbeth. Oh, we're not doing this at all. Miranda is not feeling really good. She really wants all's well. That's the hill she'll die on because that is what she needs as a sign for her life to get better. Then she meets three strangers who basically offer everything she wants on a platter. They say, you know what, we can give you your play. You can have revenge on your students, and everybody who doesn't believe her pain will feel it firsthand. So is she gonna accept this offer? And then is everything gonna be well? Or will something wicked as we come? I don't know, but I'm so excited for. I think this is like my most. No, I lie. There's a lot of them, but I'm really looking forward to this. Next, we have this amazing blue novel by Ashley Winstead. In my dreams, I hold a knife. And then we follow Jessica, Jack, Heather, Carol, Mint, and Frankie, friends who are this like super close knit group in university, a prestigious Ivy League university of all things. They walk around like they own the campus, like life is theirs to do whatever they want with it. But then one day, tragedy strikes, and one of them is found murdered. For some reason or another, there are some secrets hidden between them, and they kind of fall apart, especially because another one of the group is accused of having murdered this person, but there was not enough evidence. So, the shadow of the doubt and everything. 10 years after that, they are invited back to a 10-year reunion of their graduating class. Our main narrator is Jessica, and she feels like she has a lot to prove. So she's counting the days to go back to to the reunion and just really show them all that she has become. This is her like swan song or aha moment. Only as they get there, she doesn't get that much of a chance because as these people are gathered together, it's clear that someone suspects one of them has murdered their friend and is determined to reveal everybody's secrets and get to the bottom of who killed Heather. It is dark academia. It is a mystery. It's a closed mystery. It is like dual timeline. Is everything I love in a book. And I have read it already, and guys, you should. It's amazing. Then we have The Guilt Trip by Sandy Jones. It's another thriller, also coming up on August 3rd. And we have Ellie and Will. They are getting married. This is their destination wedding. And amongst the guests, we have four of Will's best friends. They have been friends for decades. Rachel and Jack, Paige and Noah, two couples. And as they get to Portugal, and as the weekend goes through, some secrets they've been hiding for a long time will surface. These are deep, dark secrets that, when revealed, they will change and risk their friendship and relationships forever. And at the end of this trip, not all of them will be alive. The Guilt Trip. Next, we have three YAs, also coming out August 3rd. It was like August is starting off with a bang. The first one I have is The Dead in the Dark by Corny Good. In it, we follow Logan and her dads. They are Brendan Alejo, and they are TV ghost hunters. They have a TV show, and one of the cases bring them back to Snakebite, their hometown. And they are drawn there because teenagers in town are mysteriously disappearing, with some of them even turning up dead. But they suspect there's something supernatural about these deaths, so they're there to investigate and to either debunk it or prove what is going on. And in the town, Logan meets Ashley, and there will be a sapphic romance in it too. So they become involved not only personally, but also they are determined to figure out what's haunting the town because Ashley's boyfriend was one of the victims. So I think this is a very deep and dark and interesting book. I love the fact there's a homosexual representation. We have two dads raising a daughter, and also the daughter and a bisexual woman. They start a relationship, but it's also scary. There's a good mythology about this monster, and up to the end, I think you're going to be wondering if it is supernatural or not. And this is The Dead and the Dark. Next, we have A Lesson in Vengeance by Victoria Lee. And if there is one thing I've learned about myself recently is that I love dark academia. Some of my favorite YAs are not only mysteries, I guess I only read YA mysteries, but they are set in an academic setting. So in this one, it is set in the, I'm assuming, fictitious school of Dalloway. And this is a school that has witchcraft woven into its very core, even though it's something that school itself discourages. The discussion, nobody talks about it, but of course the students always do. The most famous mystery to come out of Dalloway halls is the Dalloway 5, which is when years before the current time, we had 5 students, all suspected of being witches, mysteriously die. one after the other in a short period of time. This is something that really nobody talks about. Okay, in the present time, we have Felicity. Felicity attends the school, and she is someone who's fascinated with the dark and the occult and things of the nature. And she has a girlfriend. Her girlfriend dies mysteriously. This really deeply impacts her, so she takes a 1 year sabbatical. She is away from Dalloway for the year. And during the year, she does a lot of soul searching, motivated by her grief. And she decides that she wants nothing to do with the occult anymore. She's going to turn her life around and just uh, put out the fire of her dark obsession. Fine. So she is in a good mental space. She goes back with that determination to Dalloway for her senior year. She focuses on her thesis, and there's no more gossip, no more witchcraft, no more nothing until she meets new girl Alice. She is an acclaimed, published prodigy writer. Her novel sold millions. It's a bestseller. So she finds herself in the hall. She's very magnetic and popular, drawn to people, but she is determined. As soon as she hears about the Dalloway Five, that's gonna be the inspiration for her second novel. So for some reason, she looks at Felicity and says, "You girl, come to mama. You're gonna help me research about what really happened to these girls, okay? Because I chose you." And Felicity was like, "No, bish, I don't want anything to do with the dark. Not talking about it." And then Alice goes, "Please." And Felicity goes like, "God damn." So the two of them start investigating what really happened to the Dalloway Five. And then, you guessed it, murders start occurring in the same fashion. So history is repeating itself. And the main question now is what's going to happen to Felicity? Is she ready to face the darkness coming from Dalloway House and from within herself? I'll have to read the book to find out. This is like, I'm so excited. And by the way, if you haven't had a chance yet, I know I haven't done my vlog, but I talked to you about Once Upon a Book Club. I'll link the video here. And I always look at the hints, and I only get the boxes that interest me. And I know the August YA box will be A Lesson in Vengeance, this book. So I can't wait to get my box so I can like read it and get the goodies that come with it. If that's something that interests you too, I'll link Once Upon a Book Club here, and I'll link the video so you know what I'm talking about. But I'm so excited for this. It's the first one since the Mary Shelley Club that I got. Next book I have is another academia book, How We Fall Apart by Katie Zhao. And like I said, dark academia, sign me up. I will read. It doesn't matter if it's YA, middle grade, kids' books, mystery, thriller, horror. I'll read it. Here we have Nancy, Akil, Crystal, and Alexander. They are a close-knit group. Their other best friend, Jamie, went missing, and then her body was found. And they are taken aback with their loss. They were very, very close. And not only that, Jamie by herself was, so the whole group is close, and everybody individually was closer to Jamie. And which means that they have all confided in her. So Jamie is the only one that knew some of their deepest, darkest secrets. Only the school, and the school has a social media app where all the students can communicate, and this anonymous person that calls themselves the proctor starts planting the seed that these four friends actually have a lot to do with Jamie's death. And they are becoming suspects in the eyes of everyone because of that person. Not only that, the proctor somehow knows the secrets that they have only told Jamie, and starts either threatening or slowly releasing some of the secrets, which makes the four friends really panic because they know the worst secrets are going to come, and that secrets can really ruin everything for them, including our girl Nancy, who's on a scholarship. And what they have to do is find out who the proctor is before his vendetta costs them more than they can afford. That sounds really good too. And it's by an Asian author, so I'm down for that. Then on August 5th, we have As Good as Dead, another YA, and this is by Holly Jackson. And this is the third book in A Good Girl's Guide to Murder series. In my opinion, this is my favorite YA mystery series. Holly Jackson builds a perfect atmosphere. It's a very clever plot, very likable, engaging characters, like a hard pounding pace. I really enjoy these books. I think if I had to say, like, what is your favorite YA book, I would have to choose the series. Even if you don't like YA, I think anyone that likes mysteries will enjoy this. I highly recommend it. So I'm not sure yet if this is the last one in the series and they'll finish as a trilogy or if it'll be more. But on this book, As Good as Dead, we follow Pip, who, in the aftermath of her last investigation, is focusing on her efforts in getting ready to start university in Cambridge. As it happens, whenever you put yourself out there to the public eye, there's a lot of unwanted messages, and she gets quite a bit of death threats. And let's just leave it as this because I don't want to ruin any of the previous books. Only she, she's a tough girl. She ignores them, fine and dandy, but there's one that catches her eye and she cannot let go. She gets a message that says, who, who will look for you when you're the one who disappears? This sends her spidey senses tingling, and she becomes really worried. She goes to the police, and the police, of course, says, grow up, attention whore, just stop, okay? This is nothing. You get a lot of threats. Just let it go. Our resources can be used for better things. She's not happy about that. She knows there's something to the message. And then it seems that the person that's in this message starts stalking her. They know who she is and where she lives. And they're coming around, and somehow she starts investigating it. And she is very sure that the stalker and a serial killer who has been in prison for 6 years are one and the same. How can it be? Well, there's only one possible explanation, is that the guy who is behind bars is not actually the serial killer. So she is determined to find out who the killer is before he gets her. Then we jump to the next book I have is coming out on August 10th, The Devil Makes Three, a YA fantasy. That sounds a lot like YA horror. We follow Tess Matheson. She only wants 3 things in life: for her sister to be happy, for her to have time to practice her cello, and for everyone to leave her alone. Instead, she finds herself working at her boarding school's library during the summer and having to deal with insufferable people, especially Elliot, who's, that one entitled person every school has. And she constantly haunts Tess to find her like forbidden grimoires. And Tess, because she's working at the library, has to try to find it and get her access. Only one day, Tess finds this very interesting book. It is part of the grimoire collection. And it's so interesting that both Tess and Elliot decide to put it to the test. And without much warning, they release this demon who makes 3. Only this demon now will stop at nothing to stay free, and will use everything in its powers to turn everyone in Tess' life against her, so she is alone and has no choice but to leave the demon alone. And things get a bit worse for Tess when it becomes clear that this demon is out to her because he needs her to stay alive, and he will stop at nothing to make sure that he comes out winning. And for him, it doesn't matter if Tess is dead or alive as long as he has her. Next, we have a thriller, Gone for Good by Joanna, and I'm sorry if I butcher this, Schaffhausen. At the core of the book, we have the lovelorn killer. So he was a ritualistic killer that 20 years ago killed 7 women by binding them and leaving them up for dead. And after that, releasing a very gruesome love letter to the local papers dedicated to each of his victims. After the 7th victim, dead silence. He disappeared off the face of the earth. No more people died, and people started forgetting about him until 20 minutes. No, it was one of that piece. 20 years later, Grace is not let go. She is convinced the killer is too local, that he's just waiting for his next opportunity, and if she can somehow find out the connection between the victims, she will find his identity. That's her mission. And to that, she is part of a very amateur sleuth group, club thing. Through the resources of the group, she really digs into this lovelorn killer's history. She will find out who he is. Let's put Grace on pause. So now we meet Detective Vega. And this is supposed to be the first book in a series of her cases. So she is our protagonist. She knows all too well about the lovelorn killer, as she has lost someone very dear to him. So one of the 7 victims is related to Vega. We don't know how yet until we start reading the book. She also is very familiar with his methods, the history, and all the case files. One day, she's assigned this case, and she goes like, crime scene. Only when she gets to the crime scene, she is shocked. Her life turns upside down because Grace is found ritualistic bound, and around her, there are many clues that allude to the lovelorn killer being back hunting. Now, August 17th, one of the best days of the year is my son's birthday, and there are 2 awesome books coming this day. They're both thrillers. The first one is by Lexi Elliott. I have one of her books, The French Girl, that I'm really interested in, and there is another book about ears that I'm very interested in too. I'm waiting for my library to have it available. So she's someone that has been intriguing me for a long time, and she's coming up with a brand new book that I'm really excited about. It is called How to Kill Your Best Friend. And I might have to start with this one because this sounds like everything. We have Lisa, Georgie, and Bronwyn. They have been best friends since they were like these star swimmers in their college swim team. So needless to say, they all can swim very well. And Lisa was the best one of them all. So years move forward. They're still as close as can be. They are the definition of best friends. Lisa and her husband, they have this resort on an island, on a private island. And in that resort, one day, Lisa goes swimming and she drowns. Then Georgie and Braun, they keep thinking, how is this possible? Because she was a really good swimmer and she really knows these waters. Okay, so there is this gathering at this island to celebrate Lisa's life. They go, of course. And once Georgie and Braun gets there, they have this premonition, this sense that something is wrong and danger is around them. Could it be because both of them always suspected Lisa of being a murderer? But could it be? Or could it be that it's because Lisa's death was very, very suspicious, two very good reasons, but these two can put a finger on it until you heard it. They're on an island, so of course there's a storm, and nature comes in to lock everybody in a way that they cannot leave the island. And with everybody trapped on the island, Georgie and Braun will soon find out that Lisa's death was just the beginning. Secrets, Closed Circuit Island. You got it. Then we have The Family Plot. It's a thriller by Megan Collins. So, in The Family Plot, we follow Dahlia, who goes back to the lighthouse island to bury her dead. The lighthouses, they weren't an ordinary family. They were very eccentric. They kept to themselves. They did not mingle at all with the other islanders. So they were always the one that people thought they were strange. And they really had no say in the way they were brought up. So it's no wonder that as everybody was old enough, they left home. Then one of the first ones to leave was Dahlia's twin, Andy. It is believed for all this time that he had run away from home. Only as they're ready to bury their dead, they find Andy's skeleton in the family plot with an X to his head. And there's one last thing. The lighthouse island was home to their very own serial killer, who, strangely enough, stopped killing after Andy died. Could Andy be his last victim? Now, August 19th, I have 3 releases. The first one I'll mention is the Capo number 9 because it is being released on August 19th, period. It's written by Claire Douglas, and in it we follow Saffron and Tom. They move into the house of their dreams, and they decide to renovate the house so it's ready for the family they are expecting as Saffron is pregnant. As the builders do their job, they find 2 bodies. Okay, so the police is called, and they start investigating. And then, in order to move further with the investigation, because it seems like the bodies have been there for at least 30 years, they need to speak with the former owner, who happens to be Saffron's grandmother, who also has Alzheimer's. So she can't really remember anything and can really answer questions about those bodies, but it becomes clear that she knows something. Is she high, or is she really not in full capacity to remember it in a congruent way to tell people? And as the investigation continues, Saffron starts to feel like she is being watched, and the house is being watched, and someone is following them. And now she starts to question, is she really in danger? Is the killer after her? Who is the killer, and what does her grandma know? So this is the couple and number 9. It sounds really good. The next 2 books, they sound amazing, but unfortunately their release date is August 19th in the UK. The rest of the world that speaks English, well, North America, will get them on different dates. So the first one, Rock, Paper, Scissors, our release is going to be September 7th. But I'll mention it here because if you have access to Book Depository, I'm pretty sure you can order it if it sounds good enough, or you can wait until you get it in your country. But I'm looking forward to Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Finney. I love the way she writes. Her books progressively get better. So in it, we follow Adam Wright, a workaholic screenwriter who has lived with face blindness his whole life. He's married to Amelia. They've been married for 10 years, and their marriage is on the rocks. They went this weekend getaway in Scotland, and they both decide to go for it because it's around the time of the 10th anniversary, and maybe this is a sign that things will get better. They have a tradition. Each anniversary, they gift each other traditional gifts, which is, like that thing that first year's paper, and 25 is like silver anniversary or whatever. So they use that as inspiration to exchange gifts on their anniversaries. Amelia has a tradition of her own. Each anniversary, she writes a letter to Adam. And I'm assuming she writes things she doesn't want him to know because she never hands him the letter, so he never gets them until now. As they get to the island, knowing that this getaway will make or break their relationship, things go south because they actually didn't win this trip. One of them is lying, and there's someone determined to make sure they never get the happily ever after. Oh, I think this is gonna be so good, and I cannot wait to see how rock paper scissors is gonna like play out in the book. Like it's always a good book when you're already making theories without even having the book or the story in your hands, right? So like I am excited for this one. The next one is no surprise to you. It comes out October 19th as well. In the UK is A Line to Kill by Anthony Horowitz. Is the third one of the Hawthorne horror series. It will come out for us October 19th. So 2 months after. That's when we can get them in North America. But this one, you know me. I already love Anthony Horowitz, and I love his Hawthorne Horowitz series. I already love this one. I don't need to know anything more to know I'll enjoy this book. But guys, this one gets better because not only is like my favorite cheeky protagonist, it's in the freaky island. It's a closed circuit one. Oh my god, look at the cheekiness. So both Horowitz and Hawthorne are invited to this very exclusive literary festival on this mansion in an island with a colorful group of guests. The other guests are a children's author, a French poet, a TV chef turned cookbook author, a blind psychic, and a war historian, plus a whole bunch of feuding locals. I can already see how good this is gonna be. But not only that, um, not long into their stay, you guessed it, Eight Square find themselves in a lockdown state due to the weather. Nobody can come in or off the island. And then what is the next logical step? It's for a body to be found. Am I right or am I right? I'm right because that's exactly what happens. And then they will have a very small pool of people to investigate. And let's just hope not many people die before they find out who the killer is. Sure, excited for this book. Like, tell me, like, seriously, tell me down below. Have you not read any of Anthony Horowitz's books? Why are more people not talking about it? Where are my mystery lovers? Where are my cheeky people? Like, how come nobody's talking about them? Let's make Hawthorne and Horowitz happen, people. Ugh. Sorry, event over. Next, there's two books that I'm interested in. I'll start with Burden Falls. It is a horror. YA-ish, some say. I'm not sure. It's on Goodreads. It looks like it's a horror, and it's written by Kat Ellis. And in it, we have Burden Falls, a town whose in which superstition is very much part of their history. The whole town fears a cursed waterfall and the little specter that comes with the waterfall called Dead Eye Sadie. So the town already believes in the supernatural, this and that. Then we have Ava Thorne. She is a young girl who lost her parents a year before, and since their deaths, she dreams night after night with Dead Eye Sadie. Well, not dream, it's a nightmare, and they get progressive. One close to her is murder, and she becomes the suspect. And she starts to wonder if the legend is actually true. Nobody seems to be invested in clearing her name, so she'll have to do that herself. So she delves deeper and deeper into the town's history. The more she investigates, the more it becomes obvious that someone or something is out to get the Thorns. And the next one, I have The Menace of Crowds by Louise Penny. Okay, so I've been hearing a lot about her Chief Inspector Armand Gamache series. This is the 17th book in the series. So I am putting on my list because I plan on reading them all. So I'm not going to start with this one because, especially after the synopsis, I feel like I need some character development. And the synopsis is so convoluted, I don't even know how to explain to you guys. But basically, it's New Year, and Gamache, who, mind you, is chief chief of homicide of the Sûreté du Québec. I don't speak French, but he's assigned a menial task of providing security to a visiting professor. He found that interesting enough, so he decides to look into this professor to see why he is the one who is basically providing, being a bodyguard for this woman. It turns out, and I kid you not, this is what the synopsis said. I don't even know how to say it any other way. As Gamache looks into Professor Robinson, what he finds is so repulsive that he campaigns to cancel the lecture she was scheduled to give. So repulsive. Through the whole synopsis, they don't tell you what it is, but guys, it's repulsive, okay? And then, of course, his request is ignored. Robinson gives her repulsive lecture and divides in town. Half the people buy her Kool-Aid, half the people think they are crazy, and they are feuding. And then Robinson goes further and declares to the whole town that whoever follows her, takes her side, will get protection. We still don't know what it is, okay? But it's crazy enough that divides the town, and only half of them can get protection from Robinson. And then a murder is committed. And this something she talked about on her lecture is at the center of the whole murder and investigation. And Gamache, of course, has to investigate this extraordinary popular delusion and the madness of crowds. I couldn't even put that in my own words because I don't know what the hell it is, but this sounds like a very cool book. And if you're already following the Gamache series, I highly suggest you pick it up. Hopefully within the next year or year and a half, I'll go through the whole series and get to this one. But I'm curious, what the hell is this woman talking about? Like, finally, 2 more books to finish this video. Thank you for bearing with me. My Heart is a Chainsaw by Stephen Graham Jones is a horror coming out August 31st, stay of the year, and people buy it. I did talk about it on my horror prediction video already, but in this we've basically followed Jade, senior high school graduate, and she always struggles to find her place in the world and to make sense of everything that goes on around her and to make sense of herself. She is devout to slasher movies. She studies them all. She pretends her life is a slasher movie. She sees everything through them. That's like the point of reference for everything. And she dissects those babies. She knows them. That's like her coping mechanism. But it comes to a point when she is absolutely sure that a slasher massacre is looming in the shadows. So she becomes obsessed with finding her final girl and training her before it's too late. Of course, nobody believes her, but she knows July 4th, you guys, Slash is coming. It's going to be a fest. People have to survive. And she goes on a mission to convince her prospect to accept her fate and accept being trained before the slasher comes to town. My Heart is a Chainsaw. And last but not least, we have A Slow Fire Burning by Paula Hawkins. I haven't read anything by her, but I have 2 of her books that I'm interested in reading. One that everybody talks about, The Girl on the Train or something, and the other one has to do with waters. But anyway, I know that she is an author a lot of people do like, and this book sounds very interesting. It's coming out August 31st. In it, I have a young man who's found murdered in a London houseboat, and 3 women that know him are the suspects. We have a one-night stand last seen in his house, his grief-stricken aunt who had recently lost someone and now lost him as well. And Miriam, his nosy neighbor who knows more than she's willing to tell the police because you know what? Knowledge is currency and she wants to cap on that. Okay. So we have three women that for different reasons resented the victim. Three women's to motive to kill him. But did one of them actually go the extra mile and actually exact a revenge? This sounds like a very interesting book, and I think I might start my Paula Hawkins journey with this book because I want to see what she does with a small cast of characters. It always tells about the author, so I have high hopes for it, and it sounds very interesting. Anyway, so this is what I had. Those are my most anticipated August books. Thank you so much, guys. I hope you enjoyed the summer, and until next time, be the hummingbird.